Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Austin. Today I'm going to show you how to optimize your graphics card to make the most amount of money but use the least amount of power. So, the way that we do that is through the use of overclocking programs. You can use EVGA, you can use MSI. I'm sure there's a couple other ones out there as well, but I'm using MSI Afterburner for my overclocking purposes, and I'll link it in the description for you guys as well. So, as well as that, if you download it, it's probably not going to look like this when you first get it. Uh, in the settings, if you click on user interface, this is the skin that I'm using if you want to follow along exactly. So, uh, how do we start this? All right, so the whole purpose of overclocking is to get the millivolt usage down as low as possible, but in particular for mining, get this right here, memory clock, as high as possible. Now, the way that we do that is by boosting the memory clock, but then we are locking the core clock in order to achieve a stable millivolt that is low. Make sense? All right. So the way that you do this is when you load up MSI Afterburner, you're going to find a button that looks like this. I don't know why in the world they made this one so small. All right, we click this button, and we can see that our 3090 at 1245 uses 700 millivolts. All right. So right now at 1600 megahertz, we're using 1825 millivolts. What I'm going to do for the first method is I'm going to go into the benchmark tab of NiceHash. And because I only use the Dagger Hashimoto NB miner, I'm going to go to the settings. And in the extra launch parameters tab here, if I put dash dash C clock space at sign, and then after that put in the core clock that I want, if I put 1275 as my launch parameter, and then I run the miner, you're going to see two things. This millivolt is going to drop down, and this core clock, the GPU clock, is going to drop down to around 1275. Let's go ahead and do that. So boom, you can see my millivolts went down, and so did my GPU clock. So now that we got our card to use the lowest amount of power, all right, we want to start with our memory clock going up. A good rule of thumb is that when you are pretty much at default settings, right? Now for me in particular, I do raise the power limit and the temp limit up. But because we set the power limit ourselves by locking the core clock, that doesn't really do anything. All right, what's important here is the temperature limit goes up because we want to allow the memory clocks to allow the Celsius on the VRAM to go up. I know it's a lot of gibberish for people that don't know anything about that, but as well as that, I would say if you're mining, keep your fan speed somewhere around 80. Right? If you run your card for a while and you think that it's too loud, uh, if you take this down 10% at a time, take it down 10%, let the card run for 30 minutes. Did you see any degradation in performance? Okay, that's what we're really looking for here. All right. But for me, 80 is just fine. All right, so now we're focusing on the memory clock here because that's really what's going to affect your performance in terms of mega hash. All right, so I'm using OBS right now, which is also utilizing my graphics card. So this is really not a good representation of the full power of my graphics card. But if we go ahead and start mining here at default settings, all right, we got the power efficiency good, but we didn't overclock the memory clock at all. So we're not really utilizing the card to its fullest potential. Let's go ahead and give a chance to see what our statistics are. All right, so right now, like I said, because I'm recording as well, I'm not getting the full mega hash. Right now, I'm getting 96 mega hash. My efficiency is 348 kilohash per watt, so not very good compared to what I usually get, which is 127. Let me go ahead and bring that up for you guys. I usually get around 127 to 126 mega hash with an efficiency of around 400. Okay. So what we're going to do now is a good rule of thumb is taking the memory clock 10% up. So right now we can round this out to around 10,000 megahertz. So I can do 1,000 megahertz and I know that it's not going to crash right off the bat. So we go ahead and we run it. All right, we hit the check mark, we apply the settings. What's very important is we go and we start the miner again, because that's going to put stress on our GPU in terms of utilizing what we're actually overclocking. So now if my computer crashes, right, I know that that overclock is too much. There is no fear. You're not going to break your computer, okay? So if you do crash, it's not the end of the world. You load back up, and now you know that you went too far. All right, so after that, like if I crash at 1,000, all right, I try 900. All right, did I crash it, running the computer at 900 for 30 minutes? No? Cool. We continue. All right, so now you can see just by doing that one simple thing, all right, my mega hash has gone up significantly. I'm at 108. Oh, give it a second. I was too slow for that. All right, you can see I'm at 108 and my efficiency has gone up by about 20. I'm now at about 360 kilohash per watt. All right, so that's the whole point. You can see how we're getting more performance, but our efficiency is going up. That's exactly what we want. All right, so now let's go up a little bit more. Let's try 1,500. All right, we hit the check mark, and then we put stress on the GPU. Now, obviously, a quick 5-second test is not going to really tell you uh, if it's stable or not. You want to run your overclock for at least 20 minutes and see if your computer crashed. Sometimes, an overclock can run for a couple of days before it crashes. So it's a fine tuning over a long period of time. For me personally, I found that around 1650 is my sweet spot. All right, it's going to be different. My GPU is going to be significantly different from your GPU. One, because they might be totally different GPUs, or it could be the same exact. It could be identical 3090s, but each card is different. Sometimes you hit the Silicon Valley. All right, not the Silicon Valley, the Silicon Lottery. All right, so you can see now we're up to 112 mega hash, and our efficiency has stayed about the same. So obviously, if I stop streaming or stop recording, my mega hash is going to go up, but the power is going to stay the same. So therefore, the efficiency is going to go up. All right, so this is the whole point of. You can see if I go to you can see OBS is using like 40% of my GPU power here. So I would be getting around 127 mega hash. But you can see the whole point of this is to get more for less. All right, it's really all there is to it. So I'm gonna boost this up to 1600, hit the check mark, and then we're good to go. So hopefully that explained how to do the actual overclocking. I know that not everybody might be using NiceHash. If you're using Gminer in particular, just look up on Google or YouTube how to set the core clock of your GPU on your specific miner. I just showed you how to do it with NiceHash. There is a way to do it over here as well. So if you go to that voltage curve editor on MSI Afterburner, what you can do is you can actually drag all of these down. But if you just click on one of these nodes and then hold shift and then drag down, if you take this lowest node here and you drag it so it's above all the ones to the right, it will actually lock your GPU at that voltage. So like if I just do that and then I hit the check mark over here, all right, you see how it locks everything? It basically it prevents it going past 700 millivolts as best as it can. So that is another way to lock your core clock if you have not had the ability to lock your core clock using your actual miner. So hopefully this helps some people out. Like I said, I mean, it's just a simple thing that allows you to benefit tremendously. Like I said, when I first started using my 3090 for mining, I was only getting like maybe $4 a day at 105 mega hashes. But through some simple overclocks and optimizing the temperature of the card, I'm able to get around close to 130 mega hash, almost a 20% increase in profits. Now I'm making above $5 a day. So I appreciate you guys very much. As always, make smart decisions. And this is probably one of the smartest ones you can make. All right, so I'll see you on the flip. Goodbye, guys.